Good morning. Happy to be here with all of you guys today. As you can see, there is a blank screen next to me here because Fox is running a little bit late today. And oh, look at this. Hang on. What timing? What incredible timing. He's joining. Hang on. Let me get him up here. There's the guy.
One sec.
Nope. Now we lost your audio. He's getting this figured out, chat. We'll make this happen here. I promise y'all. Oh, wait. I got a little bit of something there. What? Hey.
Check.
Yeah, I can hear you. There you go. You can't hear me though?
Check. Hey.
Hello. Hey, can you hear me?
Hey,
now?
there you are.
There it is. Awesome.
I had to plug in headphones.
Right. That makes sense. Hey, I'm not a scientist, but I don't think you're supposed to ride the tricycle on the bed.
Yeah, I don't. Austin does. Blame him.
That's fair.
It's his tricycle. He's got to learn these things.
Hey Fox, how you doing, man?
Doing okay.
How'd your run go?
Most of the time, I don't have to cover an extra run anymore.
Right.
We actually brought in some people from First Student.
Oh, nice.
From wherever, like that. I guess there are districts with extra drivers, and
what?
I don't get it. It's weird. But right. So anyway, most of the time I don't have to. Just happened to be today that I, was given a run.
There was one. Yeah.
Good timing on that.
Hey, do you have dual monitors right now or just one monitor?
Two.
Is there something bright you can put on one of them? There you go. Yeah. Right now you are front lit by your screen right now. So whenever you put in something dark on your screen, there we go. Oh wow, look at that. Much better.
I have a light.
Ooh, you do. You have like a ring light.
Yeah, it's a small one, but yeah, I've had it for years.
Really?
Yes. I use it most of the time when we're doing this. Oh. I just hadn't turned it on.
Nice. Right on. Cool. Well, hey, the question for the day. Are you ready for today's question?
Yeah, are we live right now?
Yeah, we're live right now, my friend.
Oh, hi everybody.
Yeah, hey.
I mean, that makes sense, but hello. How you doing?
We went live at 9:25, and
Yeah,
then,
no,
but it was just like the pre-screen stuff, and then we went real live. Literally, I got to say, "Hey, welcome everybody. I'm glad you're here," and then you started calling, and I'm like, "Oh, and right on time. Here's Fox too." So, it's okay. I don't think we have anybody in the chat right now, so it's fine though. Hey, for those of you, if I'm wrong, if there are people in the chat right now, just a heads up that we finally made a Twitch affiliate fully and completely, and you can subscribe now. And so, if you guys would like to become subscribers, you are welcome to subscribe to Save Point Ministries on Twitch and help support us in what we're doing here. I know that Twitch is a really easy way and quick way to do this, but Twitch also got to take theirs, so they take a cut off of it. If you guys would really love to help out, you could just head over to SavePointMinistries.com, and there is a give option there, and you could just give $5 a month, and at that point, you're able to just do the same thing you'd be doing with Twitch, but the Twitch would not be taking its cut. So yeah, whatever you want to do is fine. Hang on here, I need to turn this down a little bit. There, my music was too loud out of my speakers. That's all. But okay, no. But today's question for real is, what is coming next from D&D storytelling? We have D&D podcasts. There are D&D TV shows. There's the D&D movie right now. Like, it seems like Hollywood and TV is really like finally getting that. Oh wait. This is literally a place where people have been creating stories for decades.
Right, D&D is a storytelling medium. It is not
literal generations of storytelling here. So we should probably tap some of this. So I don't know, what do you think, man? I don't think this is a full like episode topic, but something just to ponder here. Like, what else can we get out of this? What other stuff are we going to be getting out of D&D?
I mean, I we'll talk about it more later, but I did see the D&D movie. I saw Honor Among Thieves. I'm not sure if you have.
No, I want to.
It very clearly demonstrates. I mean, you know, what's huge right now is universes, cinematic universes. Right. It very clearly demonstrates like the D&D, Forgotten Realms and Water. Forgotten Realms has lots of places, right? But all these things. This feels like a no-brainer of like a fantasy world to then, there are a couple kind of cameo-esque like side characters that show up in this where I'm like, I want to know that person's story. Show me that person's story. Show me that, tell me more about this. And you can. That's like the whole point of D&D. So I'm really hoping. I might give you a little spoiler for my review, but it was really good. I really enjoyed it.
That's generally what I hear is that, hey man, it's not going to win any Academy Awards, but you know what? It was fun to watch and really enjoyable. Like, it's a good movie.
No. It wasn't just good. It was like extremely well written.
Really? Oh, cool.
Well, yeah. I don't care if it wins an Oscar or not. I'm saying it was like, when you write a movie, there are things you should do to make that writing good, and it did them.
That's awesome.
Every character, we'll get into it later. But anyway, I would say it was above average to, not perfect, but fantastic.
That's different than the Super Mario Brothers movie, which I saw, that we'll be talking
about.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that. I haven't
Did you see it?
Seen that one.
You haven't yet? Okay. Because you
probably
still have,
will.
Like, your free movie whenever you want thing?
No, I canceled that.
Oh,
I don't have a subscription to Regal anymore. I wasn't using it often enough to justify the.
Yeah, that's
plus
fair.
We had some other costs come up. So anyway, chat,
if you're just jumping in the chat here, we're talking. You guys are welcome to give your thoughts too. What do you think is coming next out of D&D storytelling? There are podcasts, there are TV shows, there's a movie now. Like, what sort of stuff now that Hollywood and whomever else is finally seeing? Oh yeah, this is generations of storytelling that has been untapped. What else are we going to see out of D&D storytelling here? I think that we're going to start seeing more like D&D supplemental games. So the thing like video games, like that are based in D&D realms, but like smaller.
You do have plenty of those. You have things like what's the big Baldur's Gate 3 is coming out later this year, which I'm super pumped for.
Those are meant to be like D&D. Where you create a character and you put that character into this world and
that's true. It's a role-playing game,
like RPG games that are based on somebody's D&D campaign, that kind of stuff. And I'm talking like maybe like even narrative adventures or like indie games or things like that. But I mean, like I said, there's spectacular stories being told all over the place right now. Why not tap into them? You know, I think that there's a lot of stuff that could come out of that. Worlds Beyond Number, by the way, I'm gonna toot that horn again. I don't know if you guys have been listening to Worlds Beyond Number, but it's so good.
So good. It's so good. They are all very good at storytelling, and the three like PCs are very good at like they know who their character is.
Yes, they know. So, for example, in the most recent episode, there was kind of a moment where somebody did something like kind of big. Oh, actually, I'll bring this up anyway. They killed their first person. Like
they
it was
killed
their first
somebody.
Real combat, and they killed one person.
And it was a person being possessed by something else.
It was a big deal. Like, yes. Because they have made this world so real in their storytelling, it was a big deal. There wasn't murder hobos. Like, it's not they fought an entire ship of pirates, killed everybody, stole the boat, and sailed away happily ever after. One person died, and they had to stop and talk about it. And there was actually a little bit of, at that point,
conflict between the characters. Yeah.
And I couldn't tell, like, what percentage of that was in-game content. And even, like, at one point, one of the characters said, "That's a little condescending." And I'm like, wait, who just said that?
Was that in real life? Or?
Yeah, was that Abria or was that
Suvi?
Suvi, I'm not sure here, right? And so they build so much reality in this. Like, oh man, it's so good. You guys, hey chat, listen to Worlds Beyond Number. It's so good.
Yeah, and it makes the goal, like, they are funny sometimes.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's not a comedy podcast with D&D means that I think the comedy hits harder when it does show up. You know, when you have little jokes about her familiar, the fox, like just not knowing like what a boat is.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, that's very funny.
But at the same time, they use that exact same like comedy tool, the him not knowing what it is, for a genuinely like deep emotional moment.
Yeah.
When dang, what's her name? There's Suvi and
Ame.
I wanted to call her Arwen, and I'm like, that's not it.
Suvi, Ame, and Ursula.
Yeah, Ame. When Ame, she went down, like she went unconscious, and she was on death saving throws. And afterward, the fox didn't understand what that meant. He didn't understand human death, didn't understand this stuff, and he's like, you were asleep, but you didn't get up, and I tried to get you up, and I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. And it was like a genuinely emotional moment. It was really well done. Man, such good storytelling. It is.
Yeah. These podcasts are a really good way to kind of deliver a D&D storytelling experience.
Yeah.
Especially when you have, I mean, you augment it with the Foley and the
Foley's so good.
The soundtrack, the score and stuff like that.
And the editing.
It's so impressive how well they've edited it. I think that's
clearly cut anything and everything that does not need to be in there because it flows so well. Man,
this is where I think like it would be really fun if, like, going back to that question of the storytelling medium, like, I want to see like a cartoon or maybe live action, but I think an animated version of Worlds Beyond Number would be cool. But you know what already exists is an animated version of Critical Role. I know there's something in the works, I believe, for Adventure Zone.
Yep.
Hey, let's get a crossover going. Let's get an episode where these various,
cool.
And they come in conflict and contact with each other. And
let's be real though, Critical Role would probably gain nothing from that. Like the overlap, the Venn diagram of Critical Role D&D fans and Adventure Zone fans, the Critical Role circle is entirely encompassing the Adventure Zone fans, I bet.
I mean, sure, but also like, I mean, they know each other. I know I've watched interviews with Abria Iyengar, Matt Mercer, and Brennan Lee Mulligan all together in this. Like, it's not like they're like completely separate.
That crossover would be good. I thought you meant Adventure Zone and Critical Role.
Oh, sure, why not? Like, you just do some fun jokes here and there.
It would be hilarious. It would be great.
It'd just be a quick little. It doesn't have to be a whole series. It could just be a fun little
with guest star. What's his name? Dang it! From the host, the one that did the Red Nose with Matt Mercer, Stephen
Colbert.
Stephen Colbert with guest star Stephen Colbert. That would be amazing.
Yes. Sure.
Speaking of which, I think I've talked about this before. I am DMing a D&D campaign for my 10-year-old son and a few of his friends.
Yeah.
And last night they had last time just finished one part of the adventure, and now we're going on the next section of the adventure. Sure. And I'm like, I'm gonna do a spooky adventure. I'm gonna do this a little bit spooky, you know. But they're 10 years old. I got to keep it PG, you know. Keep it calm, keep it chill.
Nah, 10-year-olds these days
not go way overboard.
They've already seen they watch it just for fun.
One of them was like legit like, this is pretty creepy, dude. This is like, whoa.
That's awesome.
Like, it was so fun because they live in a world of magic and wonder, and they have like flown and fought talking spiders and things like that. But then like a piece of chalk floats up and writes "How dare you" on a chalkboard, and he's like, "How is this happening?" Like, I didn't want to be like, magic, dude. It's magic.
It's magic.
It's gonna be all right.
Nah, because you're getting the exact response you would hope you would get.
100%. After this session, this is the first session in the spooky campaign. After this session, during the session actually, he was one of the guys was like, "Man, like you're good at telling the story," and the one scared kid was like, "You make it feel so real. You should like write D&D books." So I had to message their parents and be like, "Hey, if your kids like have trouble sleeping or anything, let me know, and I can dial it back a couple.
Just so you know, I'm the architect of their nightmares." Anyway, bye.
Oh man, it was good stuff. All right, hey, you ready to start a podcast, Fox?
I am. I've been ready since the day I was born.
To podcast?
Yes. That's before it existed.
This is my purpose. Really impressive, man.
When the nerdy gritty ends, my life's purpose is complete. So please never let it end.
We've technically
I have a son.
It,
I need
like,
to feel some
now,
kind of purpose.
So hey, chat. Hang on. I need to get my recording thing going here. Chat, we're going to be going into our podcast here in just a second. If you have not joined us for a podcast before, the way this works is beforehand, the past 15 minutes, we're here to chat and hang out and talk with you guys. And afterward, we want to hear your thoughts and everything that's going on. While we are podcasting, though, we do record this, and the goal, well, right now we're not, but the goal is to eventually be releasing these on like for podcast format. And so while we're podcasting, we don't actually interact with the chat. And it's also like people come watch it on the YouTube VODs later too. So we don't actually interact with the chat. That doesn't mean to just ignore what's going on here. Please, please, please write your thoughts in the chat, ask questions, do everything you need to do, because after we're done podcasting, we then come back to the chat and we go over everything you guys wrote in there. We pick out questions, we, comments, whatever it is, and we address them and we talk about them, whatever else. So we'll be talking about that. Today we're talking about Warner Brothers announcing that the streaming service Max, it's no longer HBO Max, it's just Max. There's
yeah. I know that. Okay.
So Max is going to be having a 10-year-long Harry Potter TV series, streaming series that is supposed to be the books like to the T. It's supposed to be very accurate to the storytelling of the books.
Which
yeah,
it might be a bad plan.
We're gonna be talking about that. Our ideas of that and our thoughts on that. So make sure you're ready to put your thoughts in as well. We will break the untalk chat silence for things like new followers, new a raid, things like that. That we just want to make sure we say thank you and whatever else too, things like that. So that being said, Fox, I am recording.
Don't worry about it. I've totally been getting ready as I should be.
Right.
Me too.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1,
2,
3,
4.
I think it's yours today, and I have written here today in the Nitty Gritty. What do we?
You just started. Whatever. You just go.
Today in the Nitty Gritty. What do we hope to see from the upcoming Harry Potter TV series?
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Nerdy Gritty, where we delve deep into the details of pop culture. My name is Fox, and I am a wizard.
Revelio. I am Dez. Revelio. Revelio.
What spell is that?
That's a reference to Hogwarts Legacy, in which you take 10 steps and cast Revelio, and then take 10 more steps and cast Revelio. That's the one that...
it's your Witcher senses.
The detective vision.
Yeah.
And
he says Revelio every time?
He does not say Revelio every time.
Oh,
he says Revelio probably every 5th time.
Man, that still would be too much.
It's too much, Fox.
Yeah, you need every game needs to have very specific audio options to turn off those things.
Man, did I tell you about the idea of AI writing? Did we talk about this last time?
I don't know. I mean,
there was a video game company that I don't remember which one that was talking about using AI for writing.
Oh, Ubisoft.
Was it Ubisoft?
Ubisoft.
But saying that their goal is not to eliminate any writers at all. Their goal is to use it to be able to write 1,000 lines of dialogue so a character never repeats themselves in a game. And so the writer's job is to write this character's backstory, their life, and all the important main dialogue. And then they feed all that.
And then all that AI, garbage that nobody's ever going to remember or pay attention to.
They feed all
just
that.
Let an AI do it.
And AI
maybe they should think, well, why do they need to say all that anyway?
Well, for situations like this, or for when you're walking around, like whenever my character, and I'm going to talk about this a lot later. I'm going to do a little nitpicking Hogwarts Legacy thing, but whenever my character passes something that I can blow up with Bombarda to reveal like a hidden passage or whatever, every single time he says, "I kid you not, those rocks have seen better days."
Yeah, and that just that's just really annoying. Why does it maybe say that the first time and
those
then never
rocks
say
have seen better days?
Yeah, that's bad writing, but never like they're rocks.
They're rocks.
They're rocks. But just don't say anything at all. It's like, remember way back in the first Zelda when you literally had no indication of a secret passage and you just had to randomly guess.
You bought 50,000 bombs and bombed every 6 inches literally of wall.
Every pixel of the game.
Man. Oh, hey, okay, let's get to our actual opening topic here, because recently the Super Mario Brothers movie released to wide popularity among fans.
Crazy numbers coming out of that thing. It's making a few bucks.
Yeah, $1 or $2 going.
A few coins,
So we've been thinking to ourselves, they're making all this money now. And, of course, Chris Pratt said, be prepared for a lot of these movies.
Yeah.
What would a Nintendo Cinematic Universe look like? What would it look like if they decided, okay, we need to get the whole crew together so that instead of Avengers Endgame, we can have Nintendo Super Smash Brothers.
Yeah, the fight against the invading Master Hand.
Right.
I'm starting it off right here. Super Smash Bros. Is the end game.
Yes, absolutely. Yes,
they all come together to fight Master Hand.
But I want to know the actor who's going to be the one who's like, I've been doing a lot of hand acting recently. Definitely exercising. I want to make sure, if you look at, like showing scenes of the game, if you look in the game, the way it does the weird hand movements, I've been practicing that one for a while now.
You got to find some hand model who's been working their whole life toward this. And they have a motion capture a glove specifically. Everything else you wear whatever, you just need a glove.
Actually, sir, we need you to be nude, just the glove, and other that entire really
it helps
like a green suit
or
something.
It helps the filming or whatever.
Yeah,
it's because
the editors,
it's because technology and stuff.
Just the way the camera works. All right, don't ask questions.
So should have read your contract.
Right. So, what do we think here, Fox? What's the next step of the Nintendo Cinematic Universe?
The first question is, does the Mario movie, is that the first step? Or are we bringing in like Detective Pikachu? Are we bringing in Sonic?
There's apparently a Detective Pikachu sequel in the works right now.
Detective Pikachu was a lot of fun. Like, we bringing in those and saying that they're alternate universes, or Pokemon are specifically in Japan in this world, and that's why they weren't in Sonic, because they're in North America in that.
No, Sonic has already established different universes. The rings.
That's true. They have the ring teleports. Yes, So we're just saying this is already the Nintendo verse.
Yes.
And the Super Nintendo verse.
Robotnik is the master hand.
Oh snap! He wears the gloves.
He has the gloves. Robotnik is the master hand. No other person.
That would actually be a wonderful twist. Is, you know, at one point Robotnik's dead. Wink, 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 wink. And turns out Master Hand was being controlled by Robotnik the whole time.
The whole time.
Yeah.
No. Here's what I want to happen. I want the Metroid, Samus to get into this, and
that's the Captain Marvel.
Right, and Samus comes in, and like Bowser's like, oh, I'm gonna force Peach to marry me against her will because I don't believe in consent. And
because I'm a bad person.
He says that directly into the camera, and
then everybody says it's woke, and it still makes $1 billion.
And then Samus shoots him with a gun.
A
gaping hole is in the middle of Bowser at this point.
He'll be fine. He'll come back for some reason.
He'll be fine. It'll be fine. But I want there to be like this stop and this recognition of, you have a gun.
These are different people.
This Joker from Persona comes in, who has Solid Snake, has actual
shoots a rocket launcher at him. What makes me excited is the fact that you could have a super wide variety of, if you get a Solid Snake movie in there, that's going to be obviously pretty different than
we're talking like Manchurian Candidate level storytelling. And then Mario comes in and he's like, Mamma Mia, Mamma Mia, ocelots,
okay. I'm here to save the day, and then you have an invisible ninja robot cut him in half with a sword.
It's a vampire, Mamma Mia.
Wait, hold on. I'm confused about everything.
How come she breathes through her skin? That doesn't make a sense.
That doesn't make a sense. This Hideo Kojima seems to have some problems. Who is the Nick Fury of the Nintendo?
Who's bringing everybody together?
Do we straight up just bring in like what's his name? Head of Nintendo. Do we just straight have him come in?
Miyamoto?
Yeah. Just have him just go. It's just him going to different companies and saying, "Hey,
he doesn't work for me anymore." But it's still Reggie. It's Reggie Fils-Aimé. He comes in. He's like, "I want to talk to you about the Nintendo initiative."
Is your body ready?
No. Okay. I want it to be Meta Knight. And he comes in, like, he's just waiting there, and he's this weird, like, circular guy with a big old sword.
And it's a meta joke about Meta Knight. He is above everything. He can travel between universes. He's meta.
He is the Meta Knight. That's what it is. It wouldn't even be a joke. They would make that why it's like, oh, I'm can see above. It's like I have a meta knowledge of everything.
He's the Watcher.
That would be the Hideo Kojima writing of it. And somewhere in there is a guy named John
away
McClane.
From all of this.
Mr. Kojima, you cannot come in here.
I do think the logical next step, as far as the movies they do, is a Zelda movie. I would love a Zelda movie. The real question to answer is, does Link actually talk in this one?
So that there are some problems with that. Number one, does Link actually talk? Number two, the tone of Super Mario Bros. And the tone of a good Legend of Zelda movie would be drastically different.
Sure,
and having them finally cross over would be. I mean, we joked about it before of having like a real Metal Gear movie. It would be similar to that though. Same thing with the Metroid movie. Like a real Metroid movie would be
sure. I'm thinking maybe we even keep it to the original Smash Bros. I mean, Sonic wasn't in that one, but if you keep it pretty low key with all these various cartoony characters.
You already have Donkey Kong, Mario, Luigi,
Sonic. Was not in that.
The original cast.
Pikachu.
There is another one that I won't spoil, but it's a spoil for the movie.
A spoiler for Mario?
Right.
Gotcha.
But there is a fifth one that I won't mention. Ooh, a Star Fox movie would
Love
be
it.
good.
A Star Fox, a fun sci-fi Star Fox movie would be super fun.
I'd be into that.
I would
for
love
real.
watching that.
Yeah, dude. Hey, Nintendo, make a Star Fox movie. Make this happen.
I feel like that's right. Like I mean, anything can be good. Like why not?
Anything can be good. That is for real a nerdy gritty motto. Anything can be good, as long
anything
as...
can be. Not everything is.
Right. Hey, Fox, what's going on in the world of news, my friend?
Well, so I don't know if you've seen this, but the Tolkien estate and Jeff Bezos or Amazon.
Oh no, you already started off bad here. You've already not going well.
They, I believe, both of them, like in the same law, are being sued for $250 million.
Oh no.
Do you want to give me your guess on what the crime is? What
for ruining the Lord of the Rings IP with Rings of Power is my guess.
No, you would think it's actually something that seems a little bit more legit.
Oh, okay.
Maybe being sued for plagiarism. Let me give you some background here. So,
what did they plagiarize here?
I'll give you some context here. So, apparently, all this is obviously allegedly. There's a person, an author, who wrote a book called dang it, where is it? I have a thing in front of me. I just need to find the specific information. Wrote a book called I believe it's called like The Return of the Ring, or essentially a
sequel?
It is a prequel. It is it's a fan fiction essentially, you know. They wrote a book and it have plans for writing a whole like 7-part series called series on called The War of the Rings. They apparently have obtained even a copyright for that book that they wrote, and claim to have left a copy of this book at the Tolkien estate. They essentially communicated with them and asked for, I believe, Tolkien's grandson to do a review of the book. I don't think that review ever happened, but they claim to have left a copy of the book, the manuscript at least, at the Tolkien estate, at the office, or sent it to them in some fashion. And they are suing for plagiarism, claiming that what's the show? The Rings of Power is, I believe the number I saw was something like at least 1/3 a ripoff of this book.
Interesting.
Including, this person is alleging specific like lines and dialogue, as well as imagery being used for the show.
Okay.
And they're suing for $250 million.
Two things on that.
Yes.
Number one, if that's true, or maybe I would better to say, I would believe it. Like, that doesn't seem too far-fetched. If somebody said ripped it off wholehearted, I wrote every single word of that, or if
you just stole this from my server,
right? Or if you took it from my DeviantArt page or whatever else, things like that, whatever. But it's like the whole idea, like, hey, I wrote a book, I sent it to the Tolkien estate hoping for their blessing, and they never responded. And next thing I see is 1/3 of my content being put on Amazon. That is believable to me. Second of all,
go ahead.
250 million may be a low number for what he would be deserving if that is true.
I mean, sure. Yeah, it feels like there's too many easily disprovable claims. So you would think, oh, by the way, one of the best parts about this whole story, the name of the author is Demetrius Polygon. Which is just the coolest name I've ever heard. Don't care if it's birth name, don't care if it's whatever. Just a great name. But they are making way too many very easily disprovable claims to like a copyright is a black and white, like, did you get a copyright approved? If there is a legitimate manuscript that you sent to somebody, show us that manuscript, show us proof that it was there and has the content that you say, and proof that it was written before the show. Like, too many things, which would either say this person is
foolish,
delusional, or straight up right.
Yeah.
Like, just straight up, like, has a very straightforward case. You ripped me off. You owe me money. Man. Also, if they are right, if they are telling the truth, how dumb is Amazon?
No joke.
Why would you spend $1 billion on this and then decide, you know what, let's just steal this? Like, you have not spent $1 billion. You've apparently spent $1,250 million.
1.25 billion.
To be embarrassed in front of the whole world. Like,
at that point, just bring the guy in.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Pay him $1 million.
Pay him $20 million. It's a drop in the bucket, Bezos. Like, just write him a check out of your personal bank account.
I wonder,
for $100 million.
You know what will probably
you just saved $150 million.
What would probably happen is, if this becomes true, Amazon will claim that the Tolkien estate provided them ideas, and they had no idea where these ideas came from. And I bet you they will try to shovel it all onto the Tolkien
Very
estate.
possible, but they are also suing the Tolkien estate. So, I mean, it's crazy. I'm actually learning there's some specifics here that I haven't seen before. But just in general, like, why would you do this? If this is true, that seems like the weirdest choice. I would also maybe say that their claim would be this is all of it's based on pre-existing material. So you can have things that are very similar, not because, you stole it, but because, well, yes, young Galadriel fought orcs. Yeah, we know. Like, that's what there's these islands, there's these people groups, like, it's all based on the same pre-created, I mean, it's new stories being told, kind of, but it's pre-created mythos.
Not to mention, at the same time, there is a sort of derivative is not the right word, but I'm gonna use it anyway, a derivative nature to this style of high fantasy writing, where there is black and white, good and evil, high fantasy. You're gonna hit a lot of the same tropes, whether you like it or not.
Similar ideas.
Yeah, and so, man, if it's true or not, this is going to be a tough case for him. But I wholeheartedly agree with you when I'm saying he's making some very provable or disprovable claims, and so either that's really dumb of him or this guy's telling the truth, so wild. That's crazy, dude.
Yeah. Good luck. I guess.
Good luck, Polygon. What's his name?
On this, I'm looking at a different site. This says it's Demetrius Polychron.
Demetrius Polychron. Still, it's awesome.
It's still both. They're both awesome. So
he is a super villain. We know that, right? He's gonna turn around from a chair with a cat and he's like, Demetrius Polychron at your service. Hey, I have an article here, but here's where things are going to change a little bit. We're not going to talk about the content of the article.
Oh, okay.
We're going to talk about the article itself.
Oh. Meta news.
I have an article here from CTV News about the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Okay.
Here is the headline of the CTV News.
Will this be diminished by the fact that I haven't seen the movie?
Not at all.
Oh, okay, cool.
Here's the headline of the CTV News review of Super Mario Brothers. The Super Mario Bros. Movie has all the charm of an unplugged Game Boy.
I don't think you know what a Game Boy is. What? All the charm of an unplugged Game Boy? All the charm
of an unplugged Game Boy.
What? Like, even disregarding the unplugged version of a handheld system, the Game Boy is still charming or not. Like, I don't think, what is the charm factor? I don't get it. That's a terrible headline in many ways.
This poor guy got roasted so hard. So,
oh man,
this is the CTV News tweet. movie reviews. The Super Mario Bros. Movie has all the charm of an unplugged Game Boy. Right off the bat, Game Boy runs on batteries, genius. Game Boy is unplugged by default, you clowns. It's battery powered, but okay, boomer.
What? The boomer aspect should help him understand this. The Game Boy came out 30 years ago.
My goodness, this is like, just looking through all of these, it's so funny. But then, so that's the CTV News tweeted this, but then the man himself who actually wrote it tweeted the article, and he tweeted it, hang on, let me double check here. 20 hours later, he retweets it.
Didn't read his mentions, huh?
Title, movie reviews. The Super Mario Bros. Movie delivers what Nintendo has been successfully doling out for 40 years. And then at the bottom, where the quote was, all the charm of an unplugged Game Boy, it now reads, all the charm of a broken Game Boy. just as if people were going to be like, oh, never mind. He got it figured out. It's fine.
Oh, he figured it out. It's good.
Nope. Of course. Wikipedia. Everybody
literally the first line, handheld game console.
There's people here like nice stealth edits with pictures of the original one and the new one.
This is obviously a meaningless, funny thing, but there are people who are legitimately mad and going to use this as like, critics are terrible. You know, critics shouldn't be listened to. They didn't know what a Game Boy was, when that's irrelevant to a review of a movie.
Somebody says, I'm shocked you're not 80 years old. But
also, hey, look, there is a very famous broken Game Boy that still runs at the Nintendo headquarters in
I don't know this.
In New York City. Yeah, it was a Game Boy that was brought to, I think it was the Gulf War in the early 90s that somebody brought, and it basically was caught in a like, you know, some kind of bomb explosion, and it's very clearly very damaged. It still is running today under glass.
Oh, that's awesome.
At the Nintendo. It's super cool. So yeah, that's a pretty charming broken Game Boy, man.
Man, it just, that to me has it is the difference between the critic reviews and the fan reviews of this movie is just, it says it all right there. Like, what the expectations coming into this film.
Right.
It's
irrelevant
right
whether or not you know if a Game Boy is unplugged, whether or not you thought this movie was good.
Right.
He tried to make a metaphor and it was bad, but that doesn't change his opinion or the validity of his subjective opinion. Just like you having played every single Mario game since they launched 40 years ago, that is irrelevant to it also. Did you think the movie was good? That's fine.
My favorite tweet is just a gif of Bart Simpson with the "at least you tried" cake, and then he goes and throws it in a trash can.
Oh man.
I
think what he should do in the future is make this his thing.
Oh my gosh.
When he reviews movies that are based on things, which are most of them these days, always put some kind of misunderstanding or like bad, like some kind of weird thing in the headline for the thing.
Man, can you like just, he's trolling the Game Boy or the
Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves has all the charm of the original Dungeons and Dragons video game.
Right.
You know, like something like that. Where it's like, you don't know, but he just does it every time.
Don't know what you're talking about.
It's rage clicks. He's just going to get more traffic.
Oh my gosh. That's kind of brilliant. I love
just do it.
Yeah, do it. Hey man, I'm here for you. I will write some of these headlines for you.
Lean into it. Yeah, I'll help you.
Yeah.
I'll use my knowledge to make you look worse so that you get more revenue.
I love this. The Dungeons and Dragons movie has all the charm of rolling a natural 12. What?
I mean, natural 12s are a thing, but that's not what you say.
What does that even mean? All right. Hey, Fox, should we get down to the nerdy gritty?
Yeah, I got a lot to say about this one. So
I'm glad you can talk about it. Well, everybody, we are going to be talking today about Max, which formerly HBO Max, now just Max, because Warner Brothers took the HBO part out. I think Warner Brothers is literally doing away with HBO altogether.
Just trying to bring it all under one.
Yeah.
Because it's not just, it's like Discovery, Warner Brothers,
right,
something or other. Like they're just conglomerating into one massive organization.
So it's just Max. And so they're kind of coming under this Max banner, and Max is going to be releasing a 10-year Harry Potter TV series based on the books, with the goal of being as book accurate as possible. 10 years, I'm guessing, so they can like split the latter few into 2-year segments.
Right. It's not. That's telling us it's not just one book per year.
Right.
That there will be, longer seasons or longer storylines.
I would guess 1 through 5, 1 season, 6 2 seasons, 7 3 seasons.
I don't know. 4's got a lot of stuff going on.
4 has a lot of stuff going on.
It's not the longest. 5 is the longest, but 4 has the Triwizard Tournament. It has the Yule Ball. It has so much stuff going on.
Yeah. We'll get into this. I feel like there's still a lot of cruft that can be cut, though. Like.
Yeah, some stuff that if they don't, it's gonna be real interesting.
Yeah. So we're gonna be talking today about kind of what we want to see and what we hope to see from this 10-year project, both in the more like practical sense of what are some casting ideas that we have, what are some story beats that we really hope they hit, as well as some on the more like thoughtful side of it. What are some things that we hope that they don't include? How should they address some of the problematic things in the book series, and kind of how to address these things? So with that being said, Fox, right off the bat, what do you think of this idea in general? 10 years, 7 books, story accurate as possible. Some people are saying it's too late. Harry Potter is going out of style. Other people are saying it's a terrible idea because of the opinion of J.K. Rowling. What do you think altogether?
I'm going to try. We already talked about kind of J.K. Rowling a whole lot a few weeks ago, and I'm not saying we need to cut her out of the conversation. It's relevant, but I'm going to try to avoid that entirely and try to keep it to the story.
Because we've talked about that recently.
We've talked about a lot. Yeah, we don't want to ignore that. That's very important. I disagree with her wholeheartedly, but we had a conversation about like Hogwarts Legacy, 2 months ago or whatever. So, but at the same. So regardless of that, it is both baffling and not surprising at all that this would be something that they would do. I don't think it's Harry Potter has reached a level of always going to be relevant, always going to be like, it's just beloved and always will have some kind of, just place in pop culture.
Absolutely.
Too late and out of style. That doesn't make any sense to me. In fact, I think it's way too soon. To me, this is the equivalent of somebody saying we're going to remake the Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings movies. Obviously, they're doing stuff with Lord of the Rings stuff, but
rebooting Spider-Man, who does that every 6 or 7 years?
Well, that happens every couple of years now, but that happens in comics also. So, but like, it's just like, wow, really? The people that were the main characters of these movies are now in their like mid-30s.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like it just happened, and they're beloved still. So that's the surprising part about it, is like, wow, this seems like you've got nothing else going on. But at the same time, it's not surprising at all. That's just what people want, is more, franchisable, like companies want franchisable stuff that they can rely on for years for revenue streams. People like to see stuff they already know about more than they like original content. I think like it's not surprising at all that this would be their next plan.
That's a whole different topic altogether, but that's something I will very much agree with you on, is that we are at a point in which brand new IPs and brand new ideas and stories are so rare. So much of what's coming out these days is either highly derivative of something else that's already come out before, or a direct sequel, or
just straight up adaptations, sequels, prequels.
New ideas are so rare. Like the last one I can really think of was Inception, probably. The last new.
I mean, you have lots of. Yeah, I mean,
Everything Everywhere All at Once. That was a good one.
Sure. I mean, I will say that if we go to like storytelling theory, there's 7 types of stories or whatever, like nothing new under the sun. But yes, there are shockingly few, or not shockingly few, but just very few like completely original things.
Right.
Especially when you get into the big budget realm, there's a million original stories in indie telling scenes, but
right.
Anyway, so
all that's to say that I'm not surprised at all that they're going to go with an IP that is already established and already well known.
Right.
I wholeheartedly agree that it's very popular still. Obviously, Hogwarts Legacy made a ton of money.
It was extremely popular.
Yeah, it's doing very, very well. Harry Potter stuff still sells well. There's the Harry Potter lands. Like
they're opening theme parks. There's a whole spin-off movie series that got different kinds of reviews, we'll say, but was still successfully or financially successful.
Right.
Like, it's not at all going out of style.
No, so I think this is a great idea for HBO Max. I think it's something that
from a corporate standpoint, yes.
Yeah. From a corporate standpoint, it's a great idea for Max, and I think it's something that could go really, really well for them. I'm eager for it. I'd love to see it. You say it's too soon. I wonder if there is a too soon these days. I wonder how too soon is, because the memory of like the general cultural zeitgeist passes so quickly these days. Like what is culturally relevant at one specific moment passes so quickly these days that suddenly like Iron Man is just not as cool as he used to be. If they were going to try and make an Iron Man TV show or try to like do a Riri Williams thing where they're focusing back on Iron Man, I wouldn't be surprised at all to try and bring Iron Man himself back into the cultural zeitgeist, because he's making his way out. Same with Captain America, kind of making his way out. Like these things that are still popular are still very, very cool and are still really, really enjoyed. They're not the hotness anymore. And that that comes and goes. And so I think I think everything feels like the right time for this. I think it's ripe for it. I think that those who grew up with Harry Potter are the ones that have the money to subscribe to streaming services.
Sure, their target audience is not the children that the books were original. Not the age range for that original. So it's a different target audience now for sure.
But that will also have to do with the content. Let's talk about that. Let's kind of go movie by movie here, because one thing that I've always said about the Harry Potter movies that are books that were done very, very well is they age with the reader. The first book,
I mean, the characters grow up.
Well, I more mean the first book is written for an 11-year-old.
And the style. Yes, the style. She becomes a better author. The content, becomes a little more mature as you get older. Until things like that.
Book 17, it's definitely a young adult.
17?
Or book 7, sorry. So there's 17.
You got an extra secret 10 books?
9 books. There are 8. That reminds me, by the way. I wonder if they're going to do 8. 8 is canonical.
Oh, you mean
the child,
the cursed child?
Cursed child, yeah. Cursed child is
canonical.
It's
technically a play, and then there's a novel, you can buy the script for it. But
it's a canonical story.
I wouldn't be surprised if they get there eventually, or make it like a spin-off series or something.
Right. So anyway, so let's start with the content here, because again, it's going to change unless they change the style of writing or whatever's going on, the style of story. The demographic's going to change as the seasons change. So how do you think they should be handling content, like as far as demographic and stuff goes?
Well, here's the question. Even if you have something to start with is, even if you have the quote unquote the actual story is already written, there's an author named J.K. Rowling, you still will have writers for the show. Somebody who is writing the script, somebody who is writing the actual story for the show, even if it's extremely similar. So my question is, are they just going to have J.K. Rowling scriptitize her books?
There's no possible way they're actually going to have her do this. She is that's canceled.
Well, sure. That's the question, though, is, well, essentially, if you just tell the same exact story, you're going to have new writers that are writing the scripts, but you are essentially saying we want to support her, or we are supporting her because it's the same exact thing she wrote 20 years ago. Like, you are saying that, even if she is not the one physically writing the scripts, if your goal is to exactly copy what she wrote, if you're just paying people to essentially adapt it, so that's a real question. And if that's your goal, it seems weird to me. That's why I think it's too soon. Is, hey, there's a huge outcry against that person who wrote that story right now. And that story, that's this show is going to come out apparently 2025, 2026. It's already in the works script wise, I'm sure. But like, that's why it feels too weird, is you are in the midst of a huge, we'll use the word cancellation of this person. And if your goal is to just recreate what she made, that feels weird. But that seems to be what they're doing.
Their response to this in Hogwarts Legacy was to create a blatantly trans character, have them talk about the fact that she is trans,
sure,
and have it be something that is accepted by everyone around her. And that was kind of the response to this idea. I wonder if that would be something to do in the TV show as well, something to that nature, just to, because I feel like J.K. Rowling's at a point right now where she's kind of taken the George Lucas route, where she's like, look, I'm going to be over here making money off of whatever you're doing, but I don't care anymore. I don't care about whatever you do with this IP. Do whatever you want with it, because you guys have burnt me out on this. Just, I'll be over here getting your money.
Having really bad takes on stuff.
Yeah. So
demonizing a lot of the people who love what I wrote.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So I wonder how they would address that type of stuff. But overall, I think that there is a way to balance making it something a little more serious and something that is able to address things like this, but also making it fun and for kids. I think shows like Steven Universe have been doing this for a long time, where they have sort of like more sensitive and heavier topics that are still brought in a fun and playful way via metaphor and whatever else. But so I'm just thinking that, even though season 1 is going to have probably a key demographic of 11 years old, I still think they can make it interesting for a 40-year-old guy like me.
Well, sure, because there's some pretty big topics that get addressed, even just by nature of what's going on. You have a orphaned child who is experiencing abuse at the hands of the family he's been put in. You have like mentorhood. You have like going into a new world and experiencing bullying, and like you have very big topics that do get infantilized sometimes. The idea of like the schoolyard bully is just something kids go through, but that can be traumatizing to children. So like you are like you have like literal eugenicist takes from like Malfoy talking about you're a mudblood because of your which is based on his parentage, and like you have all these really heavy topics that are kind of just, I think a lot of times these things are just taken for granted as just part of the Harry Potter story. But then when you think about them, they are extremely heavy, like traumatic experiences for these children that they're going through. And if you are like, it seems as though you're essentially with this series, damned if you do and damned if you don't. If you just one for one recreate the series, you are going to be depicting some pretty problematic things.
Yeah.
There is a general, I would say, meanness, even to put it lightly, amongst the characters. There's things like, just for an example, there's a very like black and white, in a bad way, I think, depiction of people, where people are inherently good or they're inherently bad. So when it comes down to things like, at a certain point, I think it's Malfoy that makes fun of Molly Weasley and calls her fat or something like that, and Harry Potter wants to freaking punch him in the face, or he is an evil person for doing that. But then when women from the House of Slytherin are described as mannish and fat and ugly and all these things, it's just a funny joke because they're the bad guys.
Because they're
there's
bad.
this, which if you depict that, I'm really hoping people pick up on it, and that kids will say, hey, that doesn't seem right. They completely did not include that in the movies for a reason. the movies depicted the characters as a little less like terrible and mean than they are depicted in the show.
Other than, I think Finch is his name, the captain of the Slytherin.
Oh yeah, he's like snarling.
Yeah, snarling and like fake teeth and
He's from Liverpool, those people.
Woof.
Yeah. He's got the bad British teeth. Everybody else's teeth are fine.
Right. Exactly.
He's the bad British person.
But other than that, the movies did a good job with it.
But if you decide, you know what, let's actually change it and make it a little more better, as far as how we depict those things, then you've got a vocal group of people who are saying, well, you ruined it by changing it. It should be exactly as we remember it, which is really what they're asking for, is what they remember, not what the actual story depicts.
I think
so. In both cases, you're going to have backlash. So it's just very strange to me that they would just want to redo the exact same story.
I think there is a satisfying middle ground there, though. Like, I think
there can be.
Yeah, I think that, number one, I mean, you drive a school bus, my dude. You know what middle schoolers talk to each other like.
Yes. It would make sense if Harry Potter, even though he's depicted as a good kid, is also terrible toward other people.
Right.
That's middle school.
Right, exactly. And that's just, I mean, it shouldn't be, it breaks my heart that it is, but it's the reality of middle school and even high school, is that sometimes people are jerks to each other, and there are bullies, and people bully each other. That is a real thing that happens. And so you can have those things portrayed and just, it's honest at that point. Just don't go overboard or don't excuse it. And then on the flip side of things, when you portray other characters, I think that you can, so let's say, fat and ugly is the words that the books used. You can find a person who is, 10 pounds heavier than the average person their age and average looking. But because people are middle schoolers, they think that everybody is ugly or whatever else. Like, I think you can find that point where, yeah, they kind of fit the description of the book, but also they're not made into a comic relief joke or something like that. So I think you can find that satisfying middle ground in this area.
Well, sure. Just the problem with the books is Harry Potter is still a good guy. He's never depicted as like kind of a terrible person, but also has to do a good thing. He's depicted as the chosen one, hero of the universe, and also treats other people kind of badly.
Yeah,
it never really has any consequences.
No, see, I don't know about that. He gets in trouble. He gets yelled at. He gets like they kind of brush past that a lot in the books, but like he does mean things and people get upset at him and he has to apologize to his friends, and those are things that happen that he does
sometimes, very occasionally.
And
but I mean, the other example is like the fact that Slytherin is the bad guys.
Yes, that is a big one for me. So let's shift topics. We're already in it. Let's talk about some of the more problematic things and how we can update them. Because right off the bat, I literally think they should have an introductory, a montage to start it out. Like, this is the world of Hogwarts, and this is what's going on here. And one of the things they should say is, and these are the 4 houses, and it should not be brave, smart, evil, and other. Like, that's not how they should describe this. Like, it should be, this is Gryffindor, of brave and bold and adventurous, but also hard-headed and maybe not, very, thinking ahead. These are the Ravenclaw, who are intelligent and wise and thinking outside the box, but also maybe their feet aren't always on the ground and maybe they're thinking too many steps ahead. These are the Hufflepuff. Maybe they're the loyal.
They're high all the time.
And they're stoned out of their gourds.
It's a totally chill vibe up in there. You really want to be in Hufflepuff.
Hufflepuff is the place to be. No.
Hufflepuff Puff Pass, am I right?
But and then finally Slytherin. These are the ambitious, the hard.
They're the
workers.
Bad guys. Hate them.
And so, but like, don't do that. Don't say these are the bad guys and these are the other kids and these are like. Don't generalize this. Like, middle school and high school already have a problem with, like
cliques.
Thank you, cliques. Undo
social
that.
Social stratification.
Yeah. Don't feed into that.
Which is why it's weird to me that they would want to, or if they intend to do this, they haven't actually revealed what the plot is, but like, make Malfoy a main character who we get to follow through like multiple plot strands. I want to see, like, Like, yeah, I would love if they would just straight up either remove the Sorting Hat as a concept and you're just put into, houses randomly because it's just kind of an administrative thing, and you get to see like, whoever's leading the, whoever's the head boy of the, prefect of the Slytherins gives a little speech talking about, he gets a bad rap, but this person, like, he went through this, and, Salazar Slytherin was this, he helped the world in this way. And like, there are stereotypes out there, but then he turns to the camera and says, but we don't do that anymore. We're not about that.
People call
it's 2023.
People call Slytherin, Hitler. He wasn't Hitler. Grindelwald was Hitler because he's the one who wanted to go and
he's Wizard Hitler.
He's Wizard Hitler,
who also wanted to stop Wizard Hitler or actual Hitler,
right? Real Hitler, yeah. But Salazar Slytherin was more the Confederacy. He wanted to keep the races separated.
You heard it here,
right?
Dez is fine with the Confederacy and thinks Robert E. Lee is a good person.
And so he was more like he wanted to keep things pure blood and not have the other race, the Mudbloods or the Muggles, have any idea or be included in any way, shape, or form. And all this to say that we still honor somebody like that today is true and is relevant. There are people who still fly Confederate flags. There are still statues to Robert E. Lee. It's not wild to think if they explain this was Salazar Slytherin, we don't agree with all of his things that he said then, but we still honor him for these reasons. That is not something wild to think. We do that today.
No, it's a real, which is why the show needs to be, the story needs to be changed to address these. Because if you just ignore it, but also you already know about these things because they're still canon in the world, then while you're watching it, especially the target demographic of people who love Harry Potter already, that either have the money to pay for the subscription, then they're going to be thinking, oh, this is weird. Like, wait a minute. You either have to just ignore it, or you're going to have weird questions about why this is the same. So use the same general plot, but have everything else be wildly different and demonstrate like an understanding of where people are today about, holding up problematic figures and social stratification and things like that. I think that'd be really cool. I would love to see that.
I agree. I think that you could get away with doing something like The Chosen, where The Chosen is everything that it does is nothing that it does is against the Bible. It is 100% according to scripture, with a ton of stuff added.
It's either faithful or extra biblical.
Right, exactly.
But
none
not
of it
anti-biblical.
Is non-biblical. Yeah.
Yes.
And I think they could go with something like that, where it's 75% the original books, and then 25% nothing that contradicts the original books, but helps expand the story and explain these things a little bit better. So, for example, like the one that still gets me today, because it goes on in Hogwarts Legacy, is House Elves.
Yes.
House Elves.
This is one of people's major problems with the Harry Potter series.
They are slaves. Like
they are literal unpaid laborers.
They are slaves that have to do what they call them masters. What their masters tell them.
Yes, they are unable. They are not allowed to use magic unless it is specifically addressed. Like they are literal slaves.
And the way the book addresses this is by saying, no, they like it that way.
Yeah, no, it's part of their DNA. It's called biological racism.
And so what I genuinely think something that would be great is if they do something where that is being addressed in the world at that time. And at some points they say, like, oh, actually all of the house elves in Hogwarts are free elves that are paid. And Hogwarts as a school stands for the freedom of house elves.
Or they actually take Hermione's spew seriously, and she leads a crusade against this. I would love to see the whole like chosen savior of the world defeat the evil, wizard bad guy as like a not backgrounded. Obviously, it's still going to be the major plot. But one of a real issue that sticks out to me with Harry Potter is that at one point, Dumbledore, when talking to Harry Potter, I think it's after like he has that confrontation with Voldemort in book 5, in the Ministry of Magic,
right,
in like the lobby or whatever, and he looks at the statue that's there that depicts a wizard, a witch, both using a wand, and then other races essentially depicted as subservient or at least lesser than. And Dumbledore straight up says, we have failed. Like, he straight up talks about, we have done people wrong. There are things that need to change. And it's like, oh, cool. This feels like part of the maturation of the series. And then it's never addressed again.
Yep.
And then literally the last lines of the book, which are obviously 15 years in the future or 10 years in the future, whatever, however long in the epilogue, it says all was well, with never anything about this inequality being addressed. And it does go to show you a lot of J.K. Rowling's worldview, I think, but also it's just like, this is extremely dissatisfying, and it shows like a worldview that is individuals are the problem, not the system. You have evil wizard man, and he died. Therefore, all is well. When in reality, there are still literal slaves working at your mystical, magical wizard school. As far as we can tell, nothing was addressed about it. So, like, there's so many things like that either need to be ignored completely, and therefore you're just always going to have the question in the back of your mind, why is it this way? Or address it. But the problem is then you have the woke crowd saying, this is woke and terrible, and you ruined my childhood. And it's just... this is the worst.
More and more these days, that crowd is getting ignored, and it's
fine. It should. Yeah,
and it should. Yeah, that's good. It's good that they're getting ignored, and things still make money. They're unable to make sure to see things fail. They didn't get Frozen to fail. They didn't get.
Bud Light is still very, very successful right now. In fact, it's continuing a solid year of. I mean, I'm not rooting for massive companies, but. The whole go woke or go woke go broke thing is not based in reality.
Yeah, not true at all. But I mean, as far as like you're talking about with the whole and all was well, it reminds me of when people say things like, "Oh man, the good old days of the 1950s." Like, I wish we could go back to those days of the 1950s. And
yeah, I'm like, that's when we got to make America great again.
For me, those would not have been good old days, my friend.
Right.
Those would be really, really bad days for me right here, the human being that you were talking to. They would have been bad old days.
Because you have not thought about this, you are like either have not thought about it or just fine with it. Like you are demonstrating that you don't care what happens to the world. You care about a very specific thing. Like, it's a very frustrating worldview that is demonstrated through the Harry Potter, the author, I would say. And I would actually watch the show. I'm not going to watch it if it's just I've already read the books. What's the point of watching a show that's the same thing? I already know the story. Nothing's going to surprise me. Nothing's going to...
That's Lord of the Rings, though. Lord of the Rings was the same way.
Oh, well, I mean, there were some changes there. But I agree with that. But in addition to my distaste for J.K. Rowling and all of that, I have already decided I'm not going to take part in Harry Potter stuff.
And that's fine. That's a separate reason than what you were saying before. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. That also, this is just another reason to not take part, like to not, we don't have an HBO Max subscription here, or a Max subscription. I'm not going to pay if it's just the same thing. I already know that story. But if they say, screw you, J.K. Rowling, we're going to do something really cool and do an actual, like, take something and improve upon it and demonstrate, like, that there are real issues that need to be addressed within this beloved children's tale, then that would be something I'd probably watch. That would be very interesting to me as a piece of art. Like, it would be making a statement that I would love to interact with in a way.
If they found a way to address, because what is basically established in the books is that humans are not the most magical creatures. Goblins, house elves, like a lot of creatures are more magical than they are, but wands are the tool that makes humans the most magical, and it has become illegal for anybody but humans to use wands.
Right.
And that's like broken. Like that is the most, like, that just feels heavily racist. Like,
yes,
imagine saying that only a certain race of people could have guns. Like,
which only gets, like, which should point out the irony of the bad guy saying, actually, these are the right people that should have magic. It's when you say, oh, all is well because every human gets to have magic now, you are still a supremacist.
Yes.
Harry Potter, the fact that Harry Potter interacted with the government and the legal system of the government in so many ways and saw how broken it was, and then decided, you know what I want to do? Become a wizard cop. Like, it just shows like a complete disregard for the systemic injustice that was written by the author who just did not care.
Right.
Just did not care. There is bad apples, but the system is fine. We just need to weed out the bad apples.
I think just, it would be
so frustrating.
It would be really, really cool, kind of like you're saying, is if as it progressed, they started taking a look at the overall system of the Ministry of Magic compared to like, wait, Voldemort is saying this stuff and we disagree with that. But if you look at it more holistically, we're hypocrites. We should be, and having like the final battle be one that they're unified with house elves and goblins and whatever.
That would be so much cooler, wouldn't it?
Super cool.
Let's start, plant the seeds. Have the first season be pretty much the first book, but plant little seeds of like Hermione at just asking a question about the house elves, being like, you know, do you like working here, or do you get paid? You know, or just like, oh wait, they work here. That's how they'll. You know, I thought it was just magic that the food appeared, but apparently it's house elves that's making it. Interesting. And then as you go, just like the books did, mature into something that actually addresses these issues. And it just feels so like a lost opportunity and extremely mocking of like just activism in general.
Yeah.
To have a character straight up like want to fight for the rights of another living being, and the response from everybody around her, including who are the people who are supposed to be the heroes, say, this is ridiculous. Let's make fun of the fact that it's called spew.
Yeah.
That's funny. Anyway, let's kill Wizard Hitler.
The answer to it is no. The house elves like it this way.
They like it this way. It's fine. Yeah.
Ugh,
it's just there's so many like things introduced that do not get the time of day, and it's very frustrating. And I would love if this series actually has the courage to do that and say, no, you can go read the books again or watch the movies again if you want the same thing.
All right, let's tone it back here a little bit here, and let's kind of get just some more on the fandom side of things.
Yeah.
And let's talk about just two things as we wrap up here. Number one, who would you like to see cast in certain roles? These are just dream castings. They may not be real or not, whatever. Dream castings. Like I'm gonna say Tom Hiddleston as Severus
Benedict
Snape.
Cumberbatch.
As Severus Snape.
I was gonna say Benedict Cumberbatch as Snape, but
that would be a good.
I feel like he wouldn't. Tom Hiddleston would be too typecast to go from Loki to Snape.
That's true. That would be very.
I don't think he'd want to do that.
Green Wizard Man to Green Wizard Man. That's it.
Green, kind of tricksy and not always the good guy, but also kind of a good guy.
Yeah.
Kind of the same character if we're being honest.
That's fair. But but Benedict Cumberbatch as Sirius Black would also be really good. Or flip those.
Or Dumbledore.
No, he's too young to be Dumbledore. We gotta find an old man. So, suggestion: bring the original kids back as the recast kids' parents. That would be interesting.
Yeah, sure. But I think that might be the plan for the. I think there is a movie based on. Oh, maybe not. Never mind. Anyway, disregard that.
So dream castings and the Sega dream castings and what
let's hope it doesn't follow the Dreamcast.
What scenes do you want to see on screen that weren't in the movies that now you're kind of excited to see happen on a screen? So what do you think? Anything come to mind?
Well, okay. Question: does everybody have to be from the UK like in the movies? Are they gonna follow that casting, or are we gonna get some British? You know,
that was Joe Rowling's rule. I think it's fine, man. If you got somebody who can make a good accent, just make it happen, yo.
Well, sure. Yeah, no, I'm just saying, like, I think she specifically only allowed them to happen if that was the case. I don't think that's the case anymore.
Right. Again, I think she's washed her hands of Harry Potter.
Sure. Let's see. Man, there's just so many people that I mean, go ahead if you got some ideas.
Yeah. Well, just moments that I'm really eager seeing are the chase in 7. The broom chase in 7 that is hitting on like 5 different things. It's done just from Harry's perspective in the book, but it would be really awesome, the book and the movie, to see like everybody fighting the Death Eaters as they're flying away, and like this actual full combat scene, or like the Ministry of Magic in book 5. Like, I guess really I'm really excited to see these full-blown wizard fights and how they're shown with modern CG, with more time being able to be given to them instead of having to be like a 5-minute section of a movie, being able to draw this out into something much more dramatic. Like, I'm eager to see like these really big wizard fights. I think it'll be super
sure cool. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing though. The problem with saying it's going to be a 1-for-1 of the books to the movies is that sounds really boring, because you have a lot of stuff that happens in the books that's really not relevant to the overarching story. In fact, the very first book is mostly world building, and the plot is incredibly thin.
Yes.
Which is fine, because it was introducing this whole world, and it's still fun and whimsical and accomplishes its goal. But like, I'm thinking, I love the Quidditch World Cup in book 4. Book 4 is my favorite. I love the Quidditch World Cup, but I don't think you need to show an entire match of Quidditch. Right. Because especially since it's irrelevant to the actual plot, the whole reason, like, they go there, it's a public event, and then the Death Eaters attack and make their statement. Like, that's why they're there plot wise. It's not to show the winner of this match. Like, so there's things like that I think they will need to cut out, because if you have every word of dialogue, it's going to get real boring real fast.
I'm sure I would love to see do that.
You're right, but there are some people who would like that, and right. I don't think they understand that that's not how movies work. Anyway, but I would love to see, now I'm thinking about it, more with Firenze, and like the Firenze was one of the centaurs.
Yeah.
And Blaise, I would love to see them being involved.
Yeah. Blaise Blaise was a Slytherin. Firenze and I can't remember the other one's name.
Whoever they are, or like seeing when they take over, like he teaches one of the centaurs teaches. They show, like, I would love to see more of them. I thought they were a cool addition, and they just got pretty much completely cut out of the movies.
Daniel Craig as Sirius Black, charming, dashing, handsome, but like after his time handsome.
Interesting. Sure.
Maybe he's too
whatever.
old. Maybe he's too old.
Maybe I don't know.
But also, I want to say book 5, the brains. They're in the Ministry of Magic, and they grab these brains, and they basically like suck the smartness out of people, and people start acting dumb and drunk, and it's hilarious in the books. It's like the funniest, wildest thing that's just going on is these brains are floating around and like sucking people's smartness out of them. And I want to see that on a TV show. It'd be real funny.
Sure. Sounds great.
All right. Hey, for those of you who are listening, whether that be currently or in the future, let us know what you would like to see out of these.
Tell us what the future is like.
Yeah. What's
like? Going on there?
Put in the comments, this is what's happening right now, and we'll see it right now.
We'll see it right now. That's how the future works.
Kangaroo men? That's wild.
The Harry Potter show sucks? Okay, yeah.
All right. Let us know what you think. And those of you in the chat right now, for those of you who don't know, we stream this live on Twitch. But those of you in the chat right now, let us know what you think. We'll be talking about this after the podcast. For now, though, Fox, what have you been up to, my friend?
I went and saw the D&D movie.
Yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons, Honor Among Thieves. It was fantastic.
Dungeon and Dragons,
Yeah, Dungeons and Dragons. A possessive apostrophe.
A dragon's colon. Yes.
A dragon's colon. No, it was fantastic. Like, it was wonderful. It was a very like whimsical, like, high fantasy romp through all these different like, locations that you would see. Lots of like, Waterdeep. They call out all these kind of places that you would know if you know a little bit about the Forgotten Realms, and so they call it, and that's fun. But like, the real place where it shines is the adventuring party, the main cast, the main characters. Every single one of them is fun and likable in their own way, and has an actual storyline, an actual story arc where you care about what's going on. It's satisfying. They, overcome some kind of individual issue as well as working together to overcome the ultimate issue, the ultimate plot line. So like, it's just a very well written movie, which makes all the dressing on top of it of D&D style stuff. Everybody has their like class, there's a barbarian, there's a bard, there's a wizard, there's a wild
Michelle Rodriguez is a barbarian, right?
she's great as a barbarian.
Yes, when I saw her in the previews, I'm like, she's got to be the barbarian. She's the barbarian, right? Yes, I love it. Perfect.
It's great because she's not just like dumb idiot, like, you know, she's not just stupid like murder person. She's like says a few things that the characters are like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And then at certain points, she's just like, why don't we do this? And they're like, oh, that just makes a lot of sense. Like, she's just like cuts through all the meticulous planning and then just says, let's just do this. And it's just very simple, but works. And like and she's also extremely strong. And, you know, there's some good fight choreography with her. Like she's, you know, an action star. And so like they really incorporate that. It's super fun.
There's a lot of see it.
It also really worked as a role-playing, like a tabletop role-playing kind of adaptation where you could absolutely see parts where it's like, this is when the party, you know, the characters, the people playing the game are like having a discussion about what to do. And then somebody just says, I'm going to do this, and then ruins everything. Or like you have this like really fun sequence where they have to figure out how to get into a vault. And so they have like this staff that creates portals, and they put one on a mirror behind the mirror and put it underneath. Like, it's just really fun little like, okay, let's like lots of stuff that you would be like, that could work if you roll well. Okay, cool, it did, and it worked. But you didn't roll well here, and you have to work against, like, it's just, if you play Dungeons and Dragons, there's lots of little moments like that where you're like, that was a nat 20 right there. Absolutely. That was a character driven moment where he did the unintelligent thing, but he felt like he needed to because that's who his character was. Like, lots of stuff like that. And I really it was fun to watch because in every way it was fun to watch.
Did that in game where it was like, everybody knew he should not do this thing, but it's what his character would do.
But he did this,
and it created a great moment because of it. Like, it's great.
It's
great.
Right.
I, on the other hand, watched the Super Mario Bros. Movie, and it was less good than you're talking about here. Here's what I will say about the Mario Bros. Movie. I enjoyed watching it. I had a lot of fun. When it comes out on streaming, I'll probably watch it again. I have no regrets for going to go see it. The characters are fun and funny. They're well acted. The animation is mind-blowing. It's so, like, every new CG animated movie that comes out, I am in awe all over again of the animation. And this is another one. There's one scene when, mild spoilers, there are people floating in an ocean and pieces of the Rainbow Road are in the water underneath them. And so there's just the glowing rainbow light is coming up, and they're underlit with rainbow through water, and it all looks so natural and so beautiful. And it's so well done. Like, it's awesome. So good in this way. The plot is nothing. It's so much nothing. And
wait, they didn't follow the extremely specific and detailed and complex plot of the Super Mario Brothers games?
Exactly my point. People are talking about like spoilers for the movie as a whole, and my point has been there aren't any. I promise you know what's going to happen.
Mario fights Bowser.
And spoiler alert, wins. Bowser wants to marry Peach. Gasp. That's been everything that's happened. You know, that's the way it is.
Okay, couple questions.
Okay.
Does at any point Mario say, "So long, gay Bowser"? Because he really should. It should be revealed that Bowser is gay, and then after they become friends, and Bowser's willing to be like, "Hey, actually, this is who I am," and then Mario leaves and just says, "Hey, so long, gay Bowser," and it's just a fun little moment.
But it's like way more serious. He just says, it's like a tear going down his face, like, "So long,
so long, gay Bowser." That'd be great.
If you listeners don't know, in Super Mario 64, there's a point in which Mario throws Bowser, and I think he's trying to say "so long." Like, because with the Italian accent,
so long, Bowser.
But it definitely sounds like "so long, gay Bowser." So long, gay Bowser.
So long, gay Bowser. Okay. Other question is, how was Chris Pratt's accent? I honestly don't know what it was like. I haven't watched it. I just seen the trailer where he talks.
I think this was addressed perfectly.
Was it
100% perfectly? So the movie begins, and it's a commercial for the Super Mario Bros. Plumbing service.
Okay.
And it's a Mario and a Luigi talking like this. "Hey, come on, you got the plumbing service. Come on, here we go. Let's come to my place for the plumbing service. Hey." And then the commercial ends, and it pans back from a TV, and there's Mario and Luigi. And Luigi, now they just have like kind of Brooklyn accents. And Luigi's like, hey, I think that came out really well. And Mario says, man, I don't know. Do you think the accents were kind of overdone? And I kid you not, in the background, there was a person dressed exactly like Jumpman playing the Jumpman arcade game. And it turns around and it's Charles Martinet. And he says, I think it was a perfect. Woohoo! And he jumps in the air. And that's it. And it's everything saying, we were not going to do that. Guys, have you heard that accent? We're not going to do that. No, we will not do that accent. But here's Charles Martinet doing that accent. There you go. Here he is. And here's him approving of what's happening from this. And from that
Are you satisfied, nerds?
Yeah, it's exactly that. I think it was handled really, really well. Other than that, it's great. The voice acting is spectacular. It may have been, other than the animation, the best part of the movie. Jack Black steals the show. Absolutely is a thief in the night, steals the show. There is a song called Peaches right now, written by Jack Black, that is the hotness, and it is everywhere. And it's mostly, the vast majority is just Jack Black going, peaches, 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 peaches.
I mean, that could
love you.
That could be a Tenacious D song.
And that's it. That's the whole thing, man.
All right. Well, so cool. Glad you enjoyed it. I'll watch it maybe eventually, but
it's worth watching. It really is worth watching. But it's fine. Yeah.
I am reading. Hold on one sec. Currently reading a book called The Grief of Stones, which is a sequel to
The Celebration.
For some reason, I cannot remember the name of
The Death of the Stones' Best Friend.
Sorry. The Witness for the Dead. So way back when I talked about hold on.
Isn't that what's his name?
No, you're wrong already.
No, not Ender's Game.
Oh, Speaker for the Dead.
Oh, that's what that was. Man, that's very similar to a mistake you made with a book I read recently.
That's true. No, okay. So a while ago, I talked about a book called The Goblin Emperor that I read. It's basically like a fantasy of manners is the description. It's like a court drama, but based in this fantasy world, which was really great. The sequel, it's not really a sequel, it's a spin-off. In the Goblin Emperor, there's a character who's a witness for the dead, who's essentially their role is a religious calling whose goal is to witness for a dead person. They have the ability to make contact with a dead person, and if it is recent enough, they will be able to witness their last moments, or even just talk to them and ask them questions to a certain extent. So the spin-off here, The Witness for the Dead, is about that character that showed up in Goblin Emperor. So it's Witness for the Dead, and then The Grief of Stones is the second one. They are both essentially crime noir, like detective fiction, where, I'll say it this way, I was trying to figure out how to describe it. It is a low fantasy story in a high fantasy world.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So it's a completely fantasy made-up world, very like, goblins and elves and stuff, although the distinction of goblins and elves is not the same as you would think of when it comes to like Tolkien. The actual story is basically a religious detective trying to solve a murder. And there are fantasy elements, like for instance, the thing I just said about this main character being able to commune with the dead to a certain point. There are people who have locator magic, where they go to the Cartographers Guild, and if they have the authority to, they can ask, you need to find this person for me. I think they are the criminal. They have ghosts and ghouls exist. There's a place called the Hill of Werewolves, things like that. Like, these things exist, but they are not the point. The point is the story, or is the murder mystery story, and the point is really the main character, who has just this like melancholic kind of dealing with guilt from this thing in his past. But it's not just like the other comparison I would make is in a fantasy like noir would be what's the series you really like? Dresden Files, where I've got this gruff background, or this like I'm more than what I seem, or something like that. It's not that. It's about a sad person kind of hanging on to life through this calling he feels and has in his religion. And it's like it's not about like the stereotype of the dark, mysterious detective. It's about like this person who's just trying to help people and genuinely wants to do that, and also is just very sad, like just depressed to the max. And like the whole time you're like, oh, I hope you solve this mystery, but I want you to feel better. Like I want you to go to therapy, man, because you deserve it. You've like, it's such an interesting tone for a fantasy series where it's hard to call it fantasy because it's really not by that genre's typical standards. I do highly recommend it though. It's really fun and really interesting, and you never know what's going to happen, especially because you don't know about this society. I think that's a large part of why make it a fantasy world, even if the fantasy elements don't really matter that much, because now you're always going to guess what about this world is going to happen next. So highly recommend it. Catherine Addison.
I gotta borrow that from you. It sounds like it's very much in my my wheelhouse.
Another friend has the Goblin Empire, and she's done. I'll give it to you.
I have just started watching Girls' Last Tour. This is an anime that has 12 episodes on Amazon Prime right now. I came across this by the most random weird thing ever, where a friend of mine and I were going to get together to play games. And so shout out to Robo Sensei. Robo Sensei, if you guys have not heard of him, go check him out. He and I were going to go play games. And I was like, I don't remember how to play that game. And I said, that's okay. I'll beat it back into you with a stick. And I looked up in the GIFs, stick. And there was a GIF of one person hitting another person with a stick. And I used that GIF. And he said, that's Girls' Last Tour. That's the greatest anime. It's so good. You have to go watch this.
It's the greatest. Wow.
Not the greatest, but yeah. But it's like, you have to go watch this. I'm like, all right, I'll go check it out because it's only 12 episodes. And that's really what sold me. It's only 12 episodes. This is a very unique and really good anime. It follows two characters, two girls, Yu and Chi, and it is hundreds of years post-apocalypse. Whatever happened, though, this was a world in which electricity, running water, all this stuff is automated. So really, it's an abandoned, dilapidated world where there's no food, no resources, but there's refueling stations where you can go get gas every once in a while if you need to. You can fill up on water if you need to, things like that. Like at one point they come across a pipe that is running hot water and they're able to take a hot bath for the first time in who knows how long. So it just follows these two girls that are in the post-apocalypse. Each episode is 22 minutes long, and within that 22-minute episode, there's at the least 2 vignettes, if not 3 vignettes. And they're broken into smaller sections. Now,
okay.
To be clear, it is one flowing story. Every vignette picks up where the last one left off. But at least thus far, I'm 5 episodes into a 12 episode story. All it is an anime that is incredibly slow paced, that is basically looking at you into the camera and saying, hey,
what about Chi into the camera?
Slow down. Slow down and appreciate the things you have in life. Each little vignette is named after kind of what they're talking about. So like one of them is called Laundry. And it's about them finding a huge well of clean water, like this huge area of clean water, and they do their laundry. And they sit and they talk and they find a fish in this water, and they're able to catch and eat the fish. And that's the episode. That's it. They appreciate clean clothes, and they appreciate getting to taste fish for the first time in their life. They had never eaten fish before. Or there's another one called what did I just watch? Dang it. It was The Sound of Rain. And they're riding out on their little, like, they have like a tank cart thing, and it starts pouring. And so they pull over underneath like a rocky outcropping, and Yu is kind of like the squirrely, needs things to be happening one. And so she grabs empty cans, their metal helmets. They're dressed like it's World War I, by the way. They have like rifles and helmets and whatnot. Grabs their helmets, grabs empty cans, and puts it under the rain, and it just starts like hitting the cans, and they're all making different sounds as it's hitting, and one of them says, "I wonder if this was music was like back in the day." And that's kind of it. And it's just appreciating the sound of rain and appreciating music. And then as it slowly fades, like the episode ends with just the silence of you hearing it hit the sounds hit the cans, and then it becomes a little more rhythmic, and then it becomes kind of a stomp thing, and then an actual song begins, and you hear the entirety of this song as the credits roll. And it's just the whole anime is, hey, slow down and appreciate what's right in front of you. They've encountered one human being in 5 episodes, and it was an entirely cordial, friendly conversation. And that was it. And it was about making sure to appreciate the things you have in life, actually. That was that little vignette. So it's really, really good. The only strike against it so far for me is the animation. Like, the character models are weird. You know how in anime, when a character is being comedic and emotional, they go from their normal face all of a sudden to a bulbous face with big eyes and like exaggerated features.
Streams of water going down their face and snot coming out of their nose. Yeah.
That's always. Their faces are always big and bulbous with really thin necks, really like weird looking eyes, and sort of exaggerated features on their faces. And I'm not a fan of it. It's a weird choice. I don't know why they made that choice.
Interesting.
But those are the 2 main characters. I personally, up to this point, feel like it kind of takes away a little bit from the
emotional... it feels like too serious of a story to...
Yeah, exactly. So, we'll see as it continues if there's going to be more of a reason why. But other than that, it is spectacular. It's so good.
Gotcha. The last thing for me is I've been playing Horizon Forbidden West.
Yeah.
It's
Horizon Zero Dawn 2.
Big open world Horizon. Yeah, I mean, it's still very fun.
Yeah.
Horizon is a really great concept. I really love the expansion of like kind of the world in this one. Especially I was texting you about like how they kind of address religion in this, where you have like people who specifically are finding data and treating it like the ancient text of the old ones and like it's prophecy. And then you have the main character, Aloy. For her, she just grew up being able to interact with this stuff, and it's just kind of part of life. And she knows that more about like the scientific side of it, and she doesn't. It's not reverent. It's just like useful, and it kind of addresses like how we look at history, how we look at science a little bit, and the religious like kind of the worldview we have, and how that affects how we interact with others, and what our purpose is and destiny and things like that. And so I've appreciated some of that. But yeah, the game is more Horizon, which for better or for worse is I mean, it's good. Yeah, I enjoy it. I like Horizon, but if they make a third one, I really hope they kind of change up the formula a little bit, shift it to something different. I would love something like a little more story focused. I'd love a maybe big open kind of area, or like the new Tomb Raider games. They're very like story driven. They're very like cinematic, like a Last of Us kind of thing, but they still have fairly large areas to explore and do some like side questing. I would love that, where it's tightened up and more cinematic, but without 1 billion things on the map to be distracted by. So yeah, but it's fun. I'm enjoying it.
I'm going to do 2 things for my last thing here. Number 1 is I'm going to quickly nitpick Hogwarts Legacy, because it is a very, very good game. I genuinely think it's going to be a Game of the Year contender, but let me nitpick the crap out of it right now.
Okay.
It is so thematically weird. I've talked before about the fact that you do murder. You do straight up blatant, like explicit murder, and everybody congratulates you for it. I guess, as we've been talking before, that's kind of par for the course for Harry Potter. But still, like, you are rewarded for seeking out poachers and killing them. Like, that's a real thing. So it's kind of weird. Also, you're a 15-year-old kid who also takes other 15-year-old students to go into goblin camps to kill all of them and then come back and be like, we did it, teachers. Thanks for sending us on this assignment. 5's around, And
good job with the killing.
Right. That's super weird. On top of this, I finally learned all the Alohomora. Like, there's 3 levels of Alohomora, so now I have the strongest one, so I can unlock any lock in the game. As you've gone throughout the game, instead of like in normal games where you can just walk into a house and break their jars and steal their money and walk out, in this one, houses have been locked. They've had locks on them. And you're like, oh, that just makes sense. These houses are locked.
They're people's belongings.
But now that I have Alohomora, I can unlock these doors and walk in and steal all their stuff, which I do regularly while they're home. I will walk up, unlock a door, I will break and enter, unlock their door, and they'll be sitting at their table with a chest right next to them. I'll be like, I'm gonna take this. Thanks. Bye. And then I'll leave. And I have robbed the entire city of Hogsmeade. I have robbed that place dry.
It is destitute. You have destroyed any generational wealth, any.
Literally, like, I've broken into the Honeyduke's storehouse, went downstairs, and there was a sack with money in it. I think I stole that dude's savings.
And you said, this is mine now.
And nobody cares. Nobody has said anything about it.
And then somebody came in and said, wait a minute, and you threatened them. You just used an unforgivable curse and murdered them. Like, it's fine.
The irony is, actually, I've chosen in my playthrough not to learn any unforgivable curses. You have a choice.
That's fun.
And I have chosen, I have not learned any of them. So, on top of this, the big things that you can get, your clothing is your armor. There's different levels. Some of them are better or worse, whatever else. Because of that, most of the rewards you get are going to be clothing based. But this also means that you will like break into an ancient tomb that people say that nobody's broken into for hundreds of years. And you will go in and throw it open and you'll get a pair of sunglasses.
Well, you're just learning about history and the fact that they had sunglasses.
It's the weirdest thing. Like, thematically, this game is so bonkers. The flights on the broom is terrible. It is the most cumbersome, awful feeling to fly the broom around. There's so many, the Revelio thing, you have to, like, so your goal is to find these scrolls. Like, the way that they explain that you don't know what's going on is that you're 15 years old and you're just being introduced to Hogwarts for the first time, but they have scattered all throughout the world field guide pages that will educate you about the world. And so that's one of your assignments as a student, collect field guide pages, but that means you have to hunt for them. If I cast Revelio, as far as I can see on the screen, everything is revealed. Treasure chests, hidden rooms, locks, everything, except for those field guide pages. You have to be within like an in-game 3 feet of the field guide pages for them to appear. And so, but if you cast Revelio and you hear a dinging noise, a chime, you know there's one nearby. So if you cast that, you hear the chime noise, you walk 3 feet, you cast it again. You hear the chime noise, you walk 3 feet, you cast it again. And oh, it's quieter now. Turn around and go back the other way. 3 feet, cast it. And like, you are just stutter stepping everywhere casting the spell. And it is so frustrating. This game has so many problems. And I don't know why I keep playing it. It's so good. It's so good. I'm going to 100% this game. I have already done 75% of everything to collect in this game. Like of the collectathon. And
that's not typically not your deal.
No,
that's my deal.
It's so fun. There have been times that I've been like, I have 2 hours of free time. I could jump into Grounded and work on our house. I could play Resident Evil 4, which I'm going to talk about here in a second. Nah, I'm going to go rob that town in the corner of, whatever.
I'm going to commit more crimes more wizard crimes.
And I do. I just fly around and I rob people and I'm having a great time with it. So, man, it's a good game. It's a weird game, but it's a good game. But then on top of that, Resident Evil 4, I'm playing. This one's going to be shorter because, shocker, it's real good. It's Resident Evil 4. When it released on the GameCube, a hajillion years ago, it was a 10 out of 10 game. And now they've taken that 10 out of 10 game and updated it to modern times and cleaned up some of the quality of life stuff and taken out QTEs and made them actual combat sequences.
The only QTE that I see in that game is Leon.
QT, got it.
QT.
Nice. Yeah. And it's really good. It's incredible and deserves all the praise it's getting, but that's not the surprise.
Yeah, I'll probably get to it eventually when it goes on sale.
All right, that's all I got.
I've never played any of Resident Evil 4, so.
Oh, dude, yeah, get it. It's for real good.
Yeah.
That's all
I've got. All I got too.
Well, then we want to say a big thank you to all of you guys for listening. Thank you all for being here. We also want to say a big thank you to Granger for the use of our theme song, All My Friends Have Wi-Fi, and so do most of my neighbors, off the album Dear Sam. I think I'm going to take just that intro music and put it on a button on my Stream Deck so we can start using it in the stream.
Oh, sure, yeah.
So not just for the post-production podcast, but yeah. So, yeah, that's thank you guys.
Yeah. Hey, I'd love for you to just tell some friends about the show, both how we broadcast every other Wednesday 9:30 here at twitch.tv/savepoint, I believe is SavePoint Min. But also we're intended on, we put the VOD on YouTube, I believe.
Yep.
And we want to get it back up on get an RSS feed going so we can be on Spotify, but that costs some money, so your support would be really helpful to getting that going. So please go to SavePoint Ministry. And
in fact, I'll tell you guys what, we got our first subscriber recently. Thank you, Wasabi Jane. You're incredible. 3 subs is an RSS feed. And so if we can get 3 subs,
I'm hungry for lunch. So when you say 3 subs, like, yeah, I could go for 3 subs right now.
3 subs right now. If we get 3 subscriptions, we'll put that RSS feed back up and we'll start releasing this again. So, but on top of that, just a reminder that this is all part of SavePoint Ministries, an organization that helps connect nerds to nerd-friendly churches. Our whole goal is to help people have community. And so, it's me. I got a shout out. Yes, you did, Wasabi Jane. So real world community. So if you are out there and you don't have a home church, but you're looking for one, we can plug you into a nerd friendly church that not only shares your hobbies, but will help build you up in Christ. And we would love to help you out with that. With that being said, thank you guys again for listening. And always remember that saved games save lives.
Bye.
And we're out. That was an hour-and-a-half episode.
Yeah, I plan to be till 11:30, so it's fine with me.
Wow, that's just crazy. The hour and a half. We're doing longer and longer these days. Chat, hey, thank you guys for being patient. I saw a lot of stuff going on in here, so I'm gonna go ahead and scroll back up and see some of the stuff that we got going on. I lived in New York too. I lived in New York 2? What happened to 1? What happened to just I lived in New York? Did you see the name of the book? The book is The Fellowship of the King. This is when you were talking about your news article. So, I mean, that's a little on the nose there.
It's The Fellowship of the King, which is the first in the series, The War of the Ring.
The War of the War of the Ring instead of the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, right.
Got it.
But I mean,
got it.
Yeah, there's still the actual battle at the end is called The War of the Ring. So,
other than New York, they say, this is the greatest marketing method in all of fan fiction history. That's true. If this author wanted to get his name out there, it's success.
Yeah, I'm going to go read that book now. Actually, honestly, I'm going to search and see if I can.
Success. Like, there you go. You did it. Wasabi Jane says, I've heard the plot of Cursed Child and refuse to believe it's canonical. I wholeheartedly agree with that.
It's not. I mean, I haven't seen the play, but reading the script is not really very enjoyable.
No, it's not very good.
That's not what it's supposed to. It wasn't the intention. The intention is a play. I don't know if though.
And you don't like the main characters, specifically
Severus,
Dumbledore, Albus,
whatever, Albus,
Albus Potter. He's bad. So yeah, I mean, it's just not great. As far as how we were talking about how it should be told, the Harry Potter book should be told, Wasabi Jane says, told from the perspective of a random Hufflepuff and their Slytherin bestie. It's like, look,
kind of chilling.
Just chill. Here's the way it's going.
Really annoyed about Harry Potter.
Bestie chimes in every once in a while. Like, but also racism. Like,
let's get the perspective of like Nearly Headless Nick or something, where he's just like shows up every once in a while, but mostly just doing a ghost thing or.
Here's Wasabi's Jane future predict, because we said, those of you in the future, let us know what's going on. Wasabi Jane says, people are grumpy about the show, regardless about the quality. That's my future prediction. Like,
100%. It's going
100%
it's going to be the same as, maybe not the same, but similar to Rings of Power.
Yeah.
Where most people will not be satisfied entirely, even or there will be people who are not satisfied just regardless of the actual quality of the show.
It's the Star Wars sequels. Like, it doesn't matter the quality. People are going to be.
It's just kind of where we are now.
Yeah.
Online discourse allows us to be there, and that's just where we are.
I preached a sermon a while back about the Proverbs 4, above all else, guard your heart, for it is the wellspring of life. Everything you do flows from it, is the ESV translation. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. And that word heart in there is the Hebrew word lave, and it means like just the core of your being, like the core of who you are. And I made the comparison that there are a lot of people out there who have let really stupid things in their lave, like Star Wars or Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings, so that when somebody makes a bad Lord of the Rings TV show, it shakes their entire foundation, and therefore they get a fight or flight response, and they have to then fight back against it. And it really just shows that we need to like recenter ourselves on Christ. Like, we need to stop caring about the stupidest things. Of course, what I actually referred to in the sermon was politics. Like, the Republican or Democratic Party is what we have let into our lave, and we've got to let that stuff go. Like, just set that aside. So
update: Fellowship of the King, The War of the Rings, Book 1 is $12 on Kindle.
Wow, that's more expensive than the Avatar: The Last Airbender book that I just got. Well, Avatar
$27 hardcover. Not a bad. That's a fine price. Like a standard like MSRP. The cover art is really cool. Like, I want to read this. I might read this.
I lived in New York. You're right. That is brilliant marketing success. You did it.
Oh, it's got 9 ratings, and the average customer review is 2 out of 5 stars on Amazon.
Whoops. That's Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos 2, not Jeff Bezos.
Definitely not Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos, kind of, but I've got a mustache.
Jeff Bezos with a mustache and glasses. Jeffos.
Baze Jeffos. And then Amazon, all the rest are just Amazon enemies. This is, I don't know, I got nothing.
Fubadoo's here. Hey, Fubadoo. He says, now that we're closing out, that we should play some League of Legends. Fox, I know that you've been eager to play League of Legends, so
I have been not.
Wow, 1995. When did you come to our not?
Not.
I was talking to you guys about Robo Sensei. I was playing games with Robo Sensei we were at a game store, and they had a TV that was playing Arcane, the League of Legends stuff. And I said, have you seen this? And he's like, no. Anything League of Legends immediately is a turnoff for me. And my point
I've heard that is good. Like, I wouldn't have a problem.
I did watch it.
It's very good. I haven't had a problem watching. I wouldn't have a problem. I'm trying to reduce the amount of games I play, and that's especially ones that, need to basically be constantly played or consistently,
especially with the reputation of the community that League of Legends has.
Yeah, sure, maybe, but regardless of that, I'm just single player. After I finish Forbidden West, I'm gonna play Dredge, which I'm really excited for.
Oh man, I've been wanting to play
that. Which looks really fun.
It's on Game Pass, right?
No, well, I would like to play. Maybe it is. I'm not sure. But I mean, Zelda is next, but
Wasabi Jane says, I just opened up the preview of Fellowship of the King, and it looks like it was formatted in Word by a middle schooler following an assignment.
Yeah, Buy it, might Fox. Not be the best.
Get it, Fox. You have to.
I'm not going. No, I will absolutely not purchase it.
You have to. You said you would. Now you have to.
I don't think I ever said that.
Hey, chat, did you hear Fox say that he was going to buy it?
Oh, wait. Hold on.
We're holding on.
Long before Sauron, these magic rings were far... Oh, maybe this is a sequel? Because apparently in the description, it talks about Eleanor, daughter of Samwise. She's nervous before her debutante party in the Shire?
What? Is that a thing?
There's the Shire does not have debutante. Get this. What is this? I'm going to exit out of this. It's not worth my time.
Wasabi Jane says she definitely heard you say it.
Well...
That was after she said that I would have to pay her to say it. But yeah, still. But do you know what debutante balls are for? Like what they're actually for? They're
it's
heavily sexist.
It's presenting your child as marryable now, basically.
Here's my child. You can marry this.
Presenting her to society. I mean, she's 16, but okay.
They're so bonkers. Fubadu says about League of Legends, it's not that bad. I only had 2 racist trolls in my game this morning. They didn't tell everyone to kill themselves until after they had died 10 times by 5 minutes into the game.
Oh, going to download now.
Oh, that's fine then. Yeah, it's great. It's great.
Sounds wonderful.
Yeah, pretty much any online game where somebody can talk to me, I don't want to play it. unless it's only somebody that I know, like or a stranger can talk to me.
You know what? Like that is true, which has actually, like, looking back on it and watching, like, I have actually come to appreciate Death Stranding a little bit more because of that. Like Death Stranding had a multiplayer function where you could, but you were only able to support and be positive to one another.
How?
You could not put couldn't put custom messages in there. You could thumbs up the thing that they put in there. You could give them supplies. You could build a road that they might be able to use in there. It's like,
right.
And it really worked. Like, I don't think that game was very good as a whole, but I appreciated the idea that the theme of connecting people and like building up from destruction was kind of carried over in even the mechanics of the multiplayer. So I do wish more games had something like that, where it's like, no, if you want to talk to, you can be positive, and that's it.
That's one of the things I like about Marvel Snap is that there's only the emotes and nothing
severely
else.
Limited emote. Yeah,
you will get people who, like, when they do a really good play, will just spam the Thanos snapping with a grin on his face thing, and then you hit a button and you hit mute, and then their emotes mean
nothing anymore. Everything. They take on their own, meanings. But yes, it's not like you can just type in whatever you want.
But for the most part, when I play Snap these days, I'll say 90% of the games I play end with a fist bump. Even if one of us crushed the other one, end with a fist bump. Hey, good man, good work, good effort, nice try, whatever. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. All right, chat. Hey, thank you guys for hanging out today. We're gonna close out here, so Fox can get back to work and so I can eat some lunch and whatnot.
I've got ramen to eat.
Yeah, real good, healthy food. I do, actually. I have brown rice and fish. I lost like 30 pounds, and then over the holidays I gained 10 pounds back, and I'm like, no, I need to get back on this. Dang it. So I'm back on that healthy eating train. Thank you guys for being here. We appreciate you all so much. One more time, we just got Twitch what's
affiliate.
Affiliate, yeah. And so that means you can sub now. So subs are always appreciated, but if you also would sub, you can also have the option of just going over to SavePointMinistries.com and giving to us directly. Then Twitch doesn't take their cut, but again, either way is fine. We appreciate you guys' support in whatever way that you can do it. You're all amazing. We love you guys. We love that each and every one of you are here today, but always remember that there is a church out there that would love it if you were there. We'll see you guys later. Bye.